You're a loser. Your artwork is shit. A 5-year-old could do this. Anyone could do this. You're a moron. You should die. Welcome to the internet. Well, it's not all that bad. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for it. And there's a lot of wonderful things out there to explore, learn, discover, and share. It's actually pretty amazing. But there's also a lot of negativity out there. And I'm sure you all have experienced some of it. My experience is not unique. We've all experienced some hate online. But I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how we don't take a stand for that. We don't stand for that at all. And we're keeping positivity in our mind, and we are not letting negativity bring us down. That's my mission. My name's Callen Schaub. So it's my mission to make the world a more colorful place. I've been at it for a long time. There's me at 5 years old, and there's a picture of me recently, kind of still at it. The purpose of my speech today is to tell you to believe in yourself. And you're all artists, so you're probably already doing a pretty good job of that. But it's easier said than done. But that concept of believing in yourself, it's almost such a simple concept that it might even leave your mind before it fully registers. But I really mean it. Like really, really, truly believe in yourself. The universe made you unique, and really embrace that uniqueness. On the other side of doubt is the fulfillment of your dreams. This piece that I put up here is called Conquering Doubt. And it's a 16-foot piece by 7 feet. And I actually spun it and put one of my swinging trapezes over top of it. And it was really the beginning of my journey into color and the color therapy that I have been working on for many years. When you're nervous about something, like I am up here right now, it means, it could just be nervousness, but it means that you care. And caring about something and being outside of your comfort zone are good things, and it's good to challenge ourselves and push past those boundaries that we have set up in our minds, because on the other side of them could be something quite wonderful. So I really encourage you to step outside your comfort zone and don't let those doubts and fears bring you down. Often the case is that those doubts and fears, they don't even belong to you. They've been put into your mind by somebody else's words. Believe in yourself, because no one else is going to do it. You can do it. It's radical, and you got this. So I'll just do a little backstory. If you don't know too much about me, I'm going to share a little bit of how I got to where I am today, speaking on stage in front of 360 artists. That's pretty amazing. So I grew up with dyslexia, meaning I kind of mix up my A's, B's, D's, and C's, spin letters around and spell things backwards. But fortunately, I got recognized for my weaknesses, but also my strengths. I got tested for dyslexia, being neurally divergent, which a lot of artists, I think, are. We think about differently. We approach problems differently. So it's actually not a negative thing. I've learned how to work with it. I'm very grateful to my mother and my upbringing. Bless her soul, she encouraged my creative side, and we would play creative games, overcome learning challenges. We didn't have TV. We would use our imaginations. I even learned how to unicycle. And learning how to unicycle taught me all about falling and trying again. And of course, a big part of success is actually failure. And failure is not a bad thing. Failure is like a step on the path to success. So I taught my sisters and my mom and my dad and everyone in my family how to unicycle, and we would hold hands riding down the street. So you get the picture, a loving family. That sort of supportive upbringing brought me to education, which was focused in the arts. I went to Etobicoke School of the Arts, and then I went to OCAD University, and I got a thesis in drawing and painting. I studied under some great professors. I learned under Shincock Tan, who taught me how to paint realistically. I learned anatomy. I learned how to paint from life. But it wasn't until I took a class by a gentleman named Dan Solomon. It was a mandatory class, 6-hour painting class, where we got to paint whatever we wanted. How exciting. So I saw everyone in the class pick up a paintbrush. and approach their canvas in a similar manner in terms of, tools. So I thought, what a great opportunity to do something different. So I ran down to the potter's department, I grabbed a potter's wheel, and began to spin my first canvas. That sort of evolved into what I now still use to this day, which is a cannibalized bicycle. This is a tool that I still use to this day. I was taking a welding course at the time, and my friend's bike got totaled. It got hit by a car. He was fine. It was just like locked to a post or whatever, but it was a gift to him from my family, and it was like this negative thing. He's like, dude, my bike is destroyed. It was this nice gift that your parents gave me to bike to university, and he was bummed out about it. And I said, don't worry, we're gonna take this negative experience and turn it into something positive. So I cannibalized the bicycle and made my first spinning apparatus. Little did I know it was gonna be a full-time career. This spinning apparatus have many iterations, and I have one that can spin up to 20-foot canvases. I kind of knew I was living inside of an art bubble, quote unquote, with the positive upbringing and going from one art school to the next art school. I knew that the quote unquote real world might not be as supportive and accepting of my colorful nature. So in fear of that, and also in fear of not having any example of an artist that I could look towards that I knew of that had made it as a full-time artist, I wasn't really fulfilling my dream yet, so I wanted to stay connected. So I opened a commercial art gallery with these two lovely gentlemen, two friends of mine. So we were co-directors. We ran a gallery called Project Gallery in Toronto. It got voted, I think Now Magazine's Best Independent Gallery in 2015. We would have a grueling exhibition schedule for 5 years. I was burnt out after that. I was depleted, and I wasn't really fulfilling this thing that I preach about, believing in yourself and the dream and all that. I was selling other people's art. I mean, it was still great. I got to learn the business side of it. I got to learn about self-directed work. Nobody was saying, Callen, you got to go, sell this art. I was doing it on my own, so I don't want to paint it in a negative light. It was a step along the journey. I knew that I had to leave, though, for my own mental state. So I left this job and my other jobs of arborist work and teaching after-school programs and began a full-time art practice. So I delved into that, I delved into debt, and took the leap of faith, I suppose, and I had my first big break. I got recognized by CBC, which is International Broadcasting, and the editor of the arts component of that reached out to me and wanted to do an exclusive of my process, and it was really my first video, and you might have even seen it, it's on YouTube. So I got my first 1 million views. And then 2 million, and then 3, and then up to 5, and whatever. It was very exciting. Up until this point, I sort of didn't have a name for myself. So this was a big kind of turning point. And with all the views, all the excitement, I was following along. My mom was calling me, oh, look, Callen, you got following the numbers on YouTube. With that also comes the comment section. And we all know what comes with the comments. Lots of positivity. I don't want to harp on the negativity too much, but of course there's the negativity. So this at first had a negative impact on me, understandably. People saying that my art wasn't good or anyone could do it or it's a waste of paint. I'm all for constructive criticism, if they provoke a good conversation. But this is just like unbridled, often anonymous negativity. That kind of negativity. Trolls, haters. That was the beginning of what is now something I like to call the fake art movement. It's really about taking a stand against negativity, reclaiming that word. If they're gonna call it fake, well, I'm gonna use that and call it fake myself. And I'm gonna encourage people to also use that hashtag, fake art, and say, I'm aware of this noise going on, this chatter of negativity, but we're moving past it. We're not really associated with that. And I don't just do it for myself, I do it for others too, because creativity is a group project. We're all working on it together. So it's not just a response to somebody particularly attacking me, it's a response to negativity in general. We, as artists, are pushing the creative envelope. We are making the world a more colorful place. They say anyone can do it, and I say anyone can do it. Put an emphasis on the can. So I've literally print out the comments and swirl some rainbows on there as a way for, taking a stand against, this negativity. I've been working on this for a while. I've got a little bit of a how-to here. You put your heart and your soul on canvas and you put it out there on the internet and you get a negative comment. What do you do? Number 1, block, ignore, delete. This is also a good option should your energy levels not be at the tip top. Like if you're not really feeling that great, you got other things going on, you just don't want to deal with it, or it's really nasty, there's those tools for that reason. So go ahead, don't feel wrong about doing that. But I'm going to explore 2 other options which I like to encourage should you have the energy for it. Number 2, screw the hater. And that's kind of in line with swirling the paint over top of the comments. It's a little bit of a combative response. You know, they said something negative and you put up your defense and you say, okay, I'm going to defend myself now. And it's good to do that as well. It's good to defend oneself. But the risk with that is that you kind of sink to their level. They wanted to provoke a reaction out of you. They wanted to bait you into going to their level. They're in a negative space, and they're sharing the negative space with them. You know, misery loves company. So I've come to the 3rd option, and my favorite option, which is show love to the hater. What does that mean, to show love? That is a difficult position when you've put yourself out there, you've done something that you are passionate about, and in response you get negativity, and now you're supposed to be positive to that person? Well, consider this. That negativity that they're spewing onto you, it's not about you at all. It's their own thing. It's their own problems, it's their own fears, their own doubts, their own insecurities that they're projecting onto you. And if you got the energy for it, if you meet their negativity with empathy, understanding, and kindness, it's possible, now it doesn't always work, they might stay in their negative space, but it's possible that you can encourage them to see the world in a more colorful way. Perhaps they didn't understand and they presented themselves in a nasty way, but maybe they just needed a little bit of education and a little bit of compassion and empathy. That is something that I've been trying to do, and I encourage others to do as well if we really want to make the world a more colorful place. We're going to lead with love. I talk a lot about all the colors, and I use all the colors. So what's the motivation? I believe everyone's an artist in their own way, and for many, at least for myself, I can speak to that. Art and creating and painting, it's not a choice for me. I need to do it. I need to do it for my own mental wellness. It's how I cope and make sense of this wonderful wild ride of life. At the beginning, I was in a dark place. I wasn't feeling well, I was depressed, my mental state was not well, and I found art as a sort of a therapy. It has become this transformative and life-affirming journey working with color over the years. And now that I've got a platform and more people can see what I'm doing, I thought, well, why don't I share what I've learned with others? So I began my social media campaign of going live, sharing my process, the behind the scenes, the color therapy collection, and almost aggressive strategy to try to just blast the world with as much color as possible. But the truth is, despite my mission, I'm not always motivated. It's hard to admit because it doesn't really fit my brand. All the colors and positivity. And here I am talking about being depressed and unmotivated. But you see, motivation is an emotion. Like all emotions, well, at least for me, emotions are sometimes very intense and sometimes non-existent. Fear, happiness, sadness, joy, they come and they go. They ebb and they flow. I believe motivation is something like this. So I don't wait for motivation to show up to approach the canvas. I show up regardless. I made a decree or a vow to myself, a daily ritual to make art despite how I feel. And this has been a grueling, but also it has changed me in ways that I cannot even say. It's been awesome. I go to the arena and I'm knee deep in paint, metaphorical paintbrush poised, whether motivation or inspiration is there or not. Should inspiration strike, I'm ready to accept it. So I kind of got into the nitty-gritty about a little bit of the emotional stuff. Here's a piece that gets into a little bit of the process of destruction. So that was my first NFT, non-fungible token, called Antithesis. It's kind of this exploration of the other side of it. You know, I talk a lot about all the colors and positivity, but sometimes you're just not feeling it, and sometimes the darkness takes over. And I'm okay expressing those things too, and it's a full, candid experience of everything, and I just put my heart out there, and this is part of it as well, and that's something that I deal with, and maybe something you deal with as well. The best way I know how to lead is by example, and the best way I know how to learn is the hard way, twice. Exposing my trials and errors mentality, I encourage others to do the same. You know, I was working on, I had this idea about like a DNA painting where they're swinging buckets from the ceiling, and while they swing, they do this wrap of color, and I wanted DNA strands doing a DNA strand, and it was like kind of complicated, and it took multiple attempts, and I wanted to just share those attempts. I'm a fan of the last one, but the other two are part of the process as well. So this is a poster that I had as a kid, and I've kept it all this time. Never give up. It's kind of like a bumper sticker, kind of corny. I always used to think of myself as this little toad, refusing to give up as it's getting eaten by the crane. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of the time, I do give up. That's a hard thing to admit. I get burnt out, I lose my inspiration, I lose my spark. I gotta take a break for sometimes a month, sometimes several. But in that process of taking a break from social media and painting, I've learned something quite valuable. Balance. I learned about slowing down, breathing, mental wellness, not always looking for digital affirmations, likes and follows, and, you know, spending time with my family, spending time taking care of my body. Seems kind of simple, but it's kind of profound and really informs the work in a positive way. It's easy to preach the hustle mindset, working hard and missing occasions. It's also something that it'll love your attention when you're in it, and you yourself will love the attention as well. But it's important to stop and smell the roses. It's very important, especially for emotionally sensitive people like yourselves. So make sure to balance, and the colors will flow even better after that. Temet noste. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that is Latin for know thyself. Know your strengths and know your weaknesses, so you can play to them and use them. If you have big dreams about sharing your art or reaching an art career or selling a certain amount of art or exposing your art to a certain number of audiences, or maybe just working on a new project and you've got some sort of goal in mind, knowing what you're good at and knowing what you're not so good at is a great thing to come to the realization, because it will help you ask for help. Asking for help is actually a very strong thing to do, and it allows you to build a team. For me, it's reading and writing. Not so great at that. And so over the time, I've worked with PR managers and agents and data analysts and crypto strategists, lawyers, clients that have informed my practice as well, and all these things that I don't really know anything about. And being able to humbly say, I'm good at painting, or at least I think I'm okay at painting and I love it, but here's some things that I'm not so great at, and getting help with those things is a very good thing to do and will help you grow your business.